Ready for this?
That's a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, and everybody have a safe and wonderful New Year.
Good morning,
Tony Caravan.
You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, and not what you don't.
Okay.
Oh, no.
it's the holiday season.
Yeah, it's the holiday season. Yeah, glad to be with you this morning. I got up at after midnight tonight, or this morning. So it's 3 hours. This is one of the longest preparations. I put 3 hours into over 3 hours preparing this show, and I'm still looking on the other side, and I'm doing a get info, and I've got to raise the volume up on this because this is something I'm going to torment you with for the next 20 some days.
It's the holiday season.
Yeah. So I don't have to sing it anymore. I'm tired of singing it. It's the holiday season.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you said it. And as the title of the show says, it's the holiday season, TGIF. And I put a little thing up. Definitely the fake diet iced tea. I got to finish this stuff off. If it makes me sick in the stomach, I guess I'll just take a Rolaids. They're not the greatest for you. I know that. You know that. This has caffeine. I didn't feel like making coffee this morning. So I'll just slurp some of that stuff down. It was, I had to link two computers together, with a old FireWire connection routed through a backup drive called Jumbo. And it was a trip. But before we get into anything, and I'm just going to turn up the volume on this one just because I probably think I have to. Yesterday, when I watched a playback of the show, I realized that there was no the didgeridoo. I thought I was playing these songs, and I have no idea why they weren't playing. But anyway, this is what a didgeridoo. For those of you, few people who don't know what a didgeridoo is, here's a didgeridoo. You got that? And I was talking about Charlie McMahon, and he had the didgeridoo that he, played with the snakeskin prosthesis that we used as a roach clip. But that's another story. Anyway. Yeah, good morning. Good morning. So I hope this stuff wakes me up and doesn't give me upset stomach. But the other day I just took a couple of Tums and it solved the problem. So I didn't have to resort to any kind of heavy medication. Yeah, I've got magic pills doctors have given me. I don't know if it's the hat or what it is, but the volume in my ear isn't as loud as it should be. And I'm going to turn the mic volume up just a tad. And I hope that helps. And of course, I could turn the headphone up. I think this is the headphone. Is this the headphone? Yeah, that's the headphones. It's the holiday. Yeah, now I can hear a little bit better. Sometimes on the playback, I notice that the volume, excuse me, the volume in the beginning, and I guess I could turn this mic down a little bit. I don't even know what's causing it, but like the sound is fine for a while. And then it starts to get this like Like it just, it's a YouTube thing. Like it's the process as the video wears on, the audio gets bad. But sometimes it's right from the outset. So, and that new thing with the thumbnails now happens almost every day now. I have to just do it twice. And thanks to Nerve Gorilla, I think that's it. That's his handle on YouTube, Nerve Gorilla. Let me double check that. Because he was the one when I posted, he goes, "Oh, that happens to me. Just try it twice." And I was like going through giving thought I had to give 2-factor, authentication and stuff like that. And I've been having some problems with my Echo Dot today. And that's true. I mean, this whole show wasn't prep. I spent about an hour trying to figure out why my Echo Dot wasn't working right. But anyway, the news today, there is no news, okay? I glanced at it, and it was just utter nonsense. So the news today for me is those are roofing tiles, shingles, or whatever. This is the side of my house. I know it looks kind of weird, but I mean, it's winter time, and this is next to a parking lot, and that's just weeds growing on where it should be gravel. And that's that window there. It's like a basement window that's boarded up, secured, and where my dryer vents out of. Anyway, but above this is my roof, which I'm going to show you now. This is just, we do this on this show if you're new to the show.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
So I want to just I talk about these things, and it's just like with the didgeridoo. I never like to leave anyone hanging on something that I've talked about in the past. So what I'm going to do is, now you see those are the tiles. Last night the winds woke me up at 9 or 10. And I got back to sleep, and then I woke up again at after midnight, 12, I don't know, maybe it was 12:30, whatever like that. And I was laying in bed, and I knew I could not go back to sleep. So I came down. Hopefully I'm not going to have a heart attack drinking coffee or drinking caffeine drinks and all this stuff. But anyway, I'm going to change this file now. I'm going to browse, and I got a thing called, I think I called it house side. Yeah. And I wanted you to see this because this is the side of my house. Like I say, it's not a big house. And the back, to the left, you can't see the front porch or anything on this. And that's kind of intentional. I don't need people. And you can't see any stars. There were no stars out. It was kind of cloudy. And I guess it still is cloudy. Yeah, it's cloudy out there. It's going to be a high of 41. We'll get into the weather later. And you can see that air conditioner. That's the hallway in my upstairs. And my back bedroom would be to the left of that. So you see how the front bedroom is huge, but it faces the street. And it's got that side wall and the front wall. It's three walls are exposed and really not insulated. This is over 100-some-year-old house. In the back, there's stairs that lead to the attic against that wall. So that's that one wall isn't an outside facing wall. So technically, you got the buffer of a stairwell. And then facing that air conditioner, which is in a hallway, is the other side, which faces a bathroom. So that's an interior area, and there's a radiator in the bathroom. So I only have the back and the two sides facing the outside, and under my bed is the kitchen, and there's a radiator under there that I think radiates up and helps heat. I have a radiator in the bedroom, and the the area between me and the house next door is not a big. The other side isn't that wide open, so it's not a lot of. I'm strangling myself. It's it's not like it's warm. There's not a lot of wind or whatever. So anyway, be that as it may, you can see how this is a Dutch colonial. If you look really close at this picture, you can see my chimney, and you can see the tiles here are fine, and how steep that roof is. You couldn't even, snow won't even really stick to that. But above that is, so the roof is like this, what we're looking at, but above that is a roof that's like this. See, because the Dutch colonial goes, like I explained it, it's almost like something, an Oriental house. It's like this, the pagoda type of thing. It's like that and that. You say there's this, and then lower it's like that. But it doesn't look pagoda. It looks like a Dutch colonial. But anyway, yeah, that's it. And those are that's like real aluminum siding. Anyway, I took this morning. This is like, this was taken like 2 a.m. or something weird like that. That's the news today. But first of all, let's just get into the
Weather Watch forecast.
And as I had mentioned yesterday casually, and apologize for clearing my throat because I've been up far too early. I'm going to end up drinking 1.5 of these fake iced teas, which are more chemicals than tea. But they got caffeine in them, so what the heck. But I mentioned yesterday that the clouds you're seeing in the upper atmosphere here, and I want to make sure we got the right one because, yeah, December 3rd. Today's Friday, TGIF, for you folks that celebrate that kind of thing. You working stiffs, you wage slaves, you poor unfortunates. I don't know. Hawaiian shirt Friday, like in the office. That's what I've got on, my Christmas Hawaiian shirt. Anyhow, you see those clouds, they're moving at a fast cliff. And I mentioned yesterday that I thought that they were like following the jet stream. And last night, these winds were like gale force winds. It definitely, they reached tropical storm. And that's why I went out and was looking to see if, I was expecting to see like about a dozen shingles down on the ground. I haven't checked the other side of my house yet, but there's got to be some more down. So there's this that's fast moving up there, Excuse me. I hope I don't have to keep clearing my throat, and I apologize for it. But if you look at the speed of those clouds, say compared to some of the clouds in the Gulf, right? So there's that's I think the jet stream is a little bit lower right now. And it suddenly got cold. Yesterday it went up to 57 degrees here, but it cooled down real quick. It was like, it's as if that, that fast moving jet stream or whatever was bringing in some warm air, and then it just said, okay, enough of that. It's not the season for it. So like right now, yesterday it was 57 degrees last time I checked the weather, and right now it's 39 degrees. And before it's said and done this morning, by the time the show's over, like I say, when the night gets as dark as the night's going to get, it'll be 37 degrees. Low tonight will be 34 degrees here in the mid-Atlantic states. And I didn't really say it, but I guess I should have. This is
Weekend weather.
So for the weekend weather is Saturday, 10% chance. Well, basically, it's going to be sunny tomorrow. 46 for the high, 28 for the low. Sunday, partly cloudy, partly sunny, whatever it is. Glass half full, glass empty. 43 for the high and 39 for the low. And then we're looking at a 90% chance of rain on Monday, and it's going to get, and again, it's saying 55. But the low that night is going to be 25. So you understand that when you have that a convergence of that, so you're either going to see if it rains all day and then it drops down to 25, which is, obviously below freezing Fahrenheit and below 0 centigrade or Celsius, I should say. And you're gonna get icing up. So I don't know about Monday. So anyway, but this is
Weekend.
It's the weekend, and that was your
The Weather Watch forecast.
And you can just freeze that if you want to look, or go back if you want to look at your neck of the woods, as I call it. Let's go through some of the daily things we normally go through. Bitcoin. I decided to put a 1 month up on this time. Okay. And so what you're seeing here is, remember we said it was several weeks ago, it was like 66, 666. So and that you can see the high there where it broke, the 65 mark, right? But it's been Bitcoin's going down, and technically, while we had that jump back in, I guess you would say early to mid-November, it wasn't that high to begin with right before that. So it kind of peaked, but, when you look at a graph like this is from a trend standpoint, clearly it's dropping. So in the past month, it lost 10%. Or basically, coincidentally, like I said, since we've been covering it every day, I think we started when it was up around 66, or it might have been when it was at, below that. But I mean, we've watched people lose $10,000, in the past month per coin. If you had 10 coins, you lost $100,000. The holiday season. Anyway, that's Bitcoin for the day. I checked out La Palma, and it is an architectural group that's this idea of designing this new city, and it's 3,000 homes. I think I said that yesterday. It was 3,000 homes. But apparently there was a really big blast last night from the second fissure. So it's still going crazy. And like I say, these photographers or photographers that are doing this, and I get this from like I say, this is from the official Spanish site, press site. They're just not crediting. I mean, I can't find the credit for the photographer. Maybe I need to look deeper, but usually it's under the photo or on the page somewhere, and it's not there. But they're good. But man, that'd be pretty freaky if you were in the house next door to that, looking at that. It's like, that's really kind of end of worldish type of stuff. It's crazy, I don't know. So let's just jump right into the music. I was thinking about, so this is Eddie Money, I mean, he's older now. I met Eddie Money once or twice because I used to work. Sometimes I was involved in shows, and, I'd, help set up, and I don't know, just hang out. It's, my experience in the music business, like, runs the full gamut, from like, just helping, being on crews, roadies when I was a kid, younger, to being in a band, to, booking bands, to managing artists. It's weird, but anyway. Yeah, our paths crossed a couple of times in my various functions, but nothing, not in a professional way. More or less, it was when I was younger, and I was just there to help out with the show or something like that. Eddie, I remember doing a show one time, and he was in the hotel room right next to us. And so, and in the morning we were all we checked out together and stuff like that. He's a pretty nice guy, and in fact, it's like, this is Eddie Money.
That's a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, and everybody have a safe and wonderful New Year.
Yeah, that's Eddie Money. Anyway, so he's a feature artist of the day, and, this is one of his greatest hits albums. He has a couple of them. But, I was thinking, Eddie Money had a lot of hits, and, but I didn't realize until I just wanted to take a list, and I actually I don't normally do this, but I jotted this down because I was playing some of them, and I was going like, man, I forgot that he really had a lot of hits. So 2 Tickets to Paradise, if you don't know, Eddie Money, this is 80s, he was like big in the 80s, but he was a rocker, right? And pop, pop rock, but not pop, not like, goofy pop, but it was rock. And it was party music. A lot of his songs were good party songs. And so I was looking at this greatest hits album, and I'm going, okay, 2 Tickets to Paradise, yeah, great tune, Take Me Home Tonight, that's a classic. I Think I'm in Love, right? Think I'm in Love, that's like I'll think I'm in love. That's a rockin' song. Some song, Shakin'. I had a video to that. I think some girls shake, pole dancer shaking, maybe, if I'm right. Baby, Hold On to Me. Rock and Roll the Place. Trinidad. I mean, we're talking about, there's like 6 or 7 songs just right there. And, at least a half a dozen of those songs were like, those were hits. They were all like, definitely top 40, and some of them broke into the top 10. I don't know if he had a number 1 or not, but I mean, yeah, he was a top 40 rock radio artist in the 80s when you still had rock radio, commercial radio. He wouldn't have been considered necessarily what the Brits call prog rock, or we call progressive FM necessarily, okay? But he was, it would, if you had a rock party tape mix, you'd probably have like 2 Tickets to Paradise, or Everybody Rock and Roll the Place, or Think I'm in Love, a couple of those songs on. Eddie Money kind of like faded into the background a little bit. At least I don't hear people talking about him, but he might be well worth revisiting. Or if you do have, a party, it's like, why not?
That's a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, and everybody have a safe and wonderful New Year.
Yeah. So you do that. And that's Eddie Money, featured artist of the day. Now, the title card. I think we'll keep the girl for a little while, I mean, though she totally overpowers this. This is a picture of the hardware store across the street, which I took this morning. And so it's like a little bit blurry because from the distance. I took it from my house across the street and kind of enlarged it with my old iPhone, which is a piece of crap. But this woman always dresses up the window. But the key thing here is that she is the toilet seats. She has this like rack of toilet seats because I guess she sells a lot of toilet seats. And if you look really closely at the picture, you might just look at this as like, oh, snowman and some Christmassy characters with some lights. But when you look, if you look closely, you go, wait a second. To the left of morning, that's a toilet seat. And it's like a rack of toilet seats. And then you look to the right, the extreme right of the window, and there's a bunch of toilet seats. I'll tell you, only my neighborhood, man. It's crazy. This hair is itchy. I got to get a haircut. I got to go back to being clean cut. So, but, you know, that's the whole idea, you know.
It's the holiday season.
So why not, right? Why not feature that? So I just thought it was pretty funny. Anyway, we don't need that there. So this is going to be a pretty much a almost a daily. Oh, she's a daily flow. Pretty much going to be a flow of consciousness show. It's like that house of my house looks so ominous there, doesn't it? Pretty crazy. Yeah. At least that part of the roof's holding up, you know. The other side of the roof, you know, that part on the other side, the shingles are like half the shingles are missing. More than half. That's the side I've got all this patching on. Then on this particular side, when you get to the top, where, like I say, where, you know, this is like slanted like this, but when you get to the top, it goes like this. At the edge where this meets this, there's some shingles missing, and it's a real bad leak. And it's right up beyond approximately like where that air conditioner's hanging out. And you can't see the ground level here, but you pretty much make it out that no one wants to go up there because nobody has a ladder. The ladder to get to the upper roof is almost 4 stories up. So it's crazy. You know, I never lit the candle. It's the holiday season, the holiday season. Hardly even looks like anything now. Yeah, so you're just hanging out.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
Just hanging out, you know, here and...
It's an excursion into the odd and into the very, very different.
So I'm here. It's the morning show, you know. What else? What more can I say? 4:14 a.m., 4:13 on the Mac, 4:14 on my wall. Put some caffeine. I don't know. I don't feel sleepy. It's weird. This stuff tastes like crap. I wish I could put something in it or mix it with something. I was thinking of mixing. I had this antioxidant like cherry stuff. I had a shot of that this morning and an apple. That was pretty much my breakfast. Did I have anything else besides that? I don't think so. No, just an apple. So, yeah, but I could feel this, like, the chemicals in here. I mean, the chemicals that are in here are so frickin' bizarre. You know, first of all, the first ingredient is water, and the second ingredient is citric acid. The third ingredient is natural flavors, right? And the fourth ingredient is sodium hexametaphosphate. Then it says vitamin C, ascorbic acid. See, it's all these acids. That's what's messing the stomach. Then green tea. It's like, you know, and then pectin, potassium sorbate, aspartame, which is crap, phosphoric acid, some kind of other potassium and calcium, dio something EDT. I mean, this has got to be the worst collection, you know, and like I say, these crappy cameras on the Mac here, you can't make it out. all you could see basically that there's 0 calories, there's 0 fat, there's 0 cholesterol. They still managed to get 2% sodium. They got to put salt in everything. What's salt? 55 milligrams of salt? What's that doing in? And then for some reason, do you ever notice on the bottom of these things, they mention like vitamin D 0%, calcium 0%, iron 0%, potassium 0%. Why mention them? You know? It's weird. That's weird. So,
hey, it's me. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I need to sleep at some point. I guess today. I mean, you just can't do this. This is just weird. But I'm happy that I did this because see, to the average person, the whole idea of like,
That's a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, and everybody have a safe and wonderful New Year.
That means nothing to anyone else, but to me, that's classic. And to have gotten this,
It's the holiday season.
I had to record. I had to get the Echo Dot to play the song, record it with my Mac's audio recorder, share it to this computer, and then link this computer with the audio computer, which is over here, all right? The one that shines the light on my face, right? And then I had to edit it down so that they're like, less than 6-second clips, but long enough to get, what you need. Didgeridoo. And the thing was, like I told you, I want to do a new song, and I want to have didgeridoo in it. And I guess I could try to contact Charlie again, and I have his email and stuff. But I don't want to make a big deal about it, like collaborate or anything, because my music goes nowhere, and so I don't want to put him in that position. But here, the reason I bring this up is that how Apple is so screwed up. In the original iTunes, I think it was iTunes, if I'm correct. It wasn't iMovie, was it? It might have been iMovie. I don't know. There was one of these things. One of the original way they had it set up, you were able to purchase sound effects, right? And Charlie had a couple of didgeridoo kind of licks, little loops on there, and I bought them, because I figured, I'm going to do it'd be nice to have some didgeridoo stuff in. And so it was like kind of royalty free stuff. And, he gets some money. He sells these little didgeridoo things. And, and then I get to use didgeridoo in a song, and it's royalty free. So it's mine, and I can mess with it and somehow incorporate it into the tune, whatever I'm writing. So I have on this old computer, which is over there for you, this, it actually lists it. But when I tried to play it, it says like it's unavailable, because this is like what Apple has done is they've cut you off from any of their old software. It's the same thing with Adobe. I have Photoshop and InDesign on this older computer. It opens up and it works fine and all that stuff, but I can't work it on this computer, which is my main computer that I'd like to work on. So I have to go through hoops. I could basically, I have a program that will allow me to screen share, but it's just not the same. and the screen, sorry about this. It's like being up all night or something. And I'm not on any kind of thing or anything like that. It's just weird. I got up. I didn't do anything yesterday. So, and I think I went to bed around 6-ish. So I really got about 6 hours. I probably got about 6 hours of sleep. Some people, that's all they ever get, you know. So it's one of those things. I'll probably crash, you know. I'll watch the playback of this show if it's any good. See where it takes us. There's people out there walking at 4:22 in the morning. Like, what the heck are they doing? And I'll probably take a nap or something like that. You know, it's going to come down on me. My tooth. I don't know. The mouth is kind of all right now. I don't feel any, you know, pain when I touch the gums. I mean, that's the main thing you got to worry about when you have like an extraction or something like that. Is gum infections. But let's get into the news. And my CPU is pretty high to begin with, but you know, a friend of mine keeps messing around with these shorts, right? And I don't like, you know, he's an iPhone guy, you know, and and he's a master of it. And and then, and I got an email, a bunch of emails from him, and he's like trying to do some different things and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm talking to you, man, you know, but I'm talking to all you people out there. And it's like, I just can't relate. My kilobytes per second just went down to like 0. I froze up. The stream will end shortly unless you restart. What the heck is going on? Man, I don't know what's going on. I hope the noise out there, somebody isn't like hacking my internet. It says I have an excellent connection. Just hang in there. If you can hear my voice, what I'm seeing is a frozen face. YouTube is not receiving enough data. Who the heck is that? I don't know. I don't see anybody out there. But anyway, just hang in there or fast forward a little bit or something. This should fix up. I'm not doing anything. I only have 2 programs open. But I can see that something weird's going on. I'm going to keep going with the show, and we'll just deal with it. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain the stream. And I'm going through like slow-mo freezing up over there. Now I'm back up to normal. Okay. All right. I don't know what that was, what happened. I don't know if maybe my Wi-Fi isn't secure and somebody was out there like tapping into my Wi-Fi or something like that. I don't know. Hacking in. I did hear somebody talking. There's nobody's got any business 4:26 in the morning being out front, of my house. And it still says YouTube's not receiving enough video, but that doesn't make sense because I'm broadcasting at a high enough rate, 30 frames per second. CPU's okay, and the kilobytes per second is like 2,600, 2,700. Warning, the stream's current bit rate, 2,600, is lower than the recommended bit rate. Since when? Right? We recommend you use a stream bit rate of 2500, and I'm at 2580. So what's the big deal? So now I have a good connection as opposed to an excellent connection. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of changes coming down the pike with YouTube and Google. And I don't know what the story is. I don't know why. Like I say, I have a locals channel, TonyCaravan.locals.com, that I guess if we have problems with YouTube and YouTube Studio, I'll just do that, and we just won't have all this fun, this fun and game stuff to pop up. Yeah, it's messing me. It says the streams it's like giving me a warning that I never got before. Your stream, it says your stream at 2699 kilobytes per second is lower than the recommended bit rate. But when you go to the warning, the stream's current bit rate 20 is lower than the recommended bit rate. We recommend you use a stream bit rate of 2500, which would be over 1,000 slower. So it's as if they're just messing with me. And now it says excellent connection. So I don't get it. I really don't get it. Like I say, it's stuff like that that takes the wind out of your sails. You're trying to do a show and get into some kind of thing, and it's like you're just hit with that,
It's the holiday season.
So I don't know. Don't know what to say and where I was going, A show should not be about the technical difficulties that you're having, But maybe that is it. Maybe that is the news. And maybe that is what we should be talking about, and we will talk about. I was telling someone yesterday that we're in the midst of this total transition into an entirely new, and this ties into what I was started to talk about when I was talking about this friend of mine who's doing all the iPhone editing and shorts and all this kind of stuff, right? And I'm wearing a shirt, but this chair goes back. I have my Then What shirt on. And so my question to people that, fellow low viewership people that are, either shadow banned or messed with is, what's the purpose of doing it, if there's nobody listening or viewing, right? I mean, it's posterity's sake. I do notice some videos, will pick up views over time, but nothing. And I hate having to look at all these numbers. That's why I wear these glasses all the time. So now I'm constantly paranoid, and I have to be glancing down at kilobytes per second, frames per second, and then looking up at the playback to make sure I'm not frozen up like I was clearly earlier on this program. It's kind of weird.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, no is right. So I don't, the goal is, the idea is then what? Is everything you do should have a purpose. And I've always, when I talk about the Save America and all this kind of stuff, and even it's the same with the Build Back Better and all this politics and the new everybody who's involved in, in that kind of stuff. you know, I've, it's one of the reasons why I got out of sports. When I was a kid, I played sports. You know, I was on like, like the minor league. Yeah, now YouTube's not getting enough video again. I was on minor league video. It's chopping me out, but my kilobytes per second are fast enough. So I don't know if this show is going to be able. We're going to be able to continue with this show. I'm seeing myself like freezing from time to time, and I don't get it. How is that possible? It's 4:30 in the morning. There's nobody, it's like the bandwidth, like nobody should be. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain a connection. No, I lost my trend of thought. I don't know. Maybe we have a live monitor today instead of an algorithm that's just messing with me for the sake of it. Somebody that doesn't like Eddie Money, right? Has a problem with all this holiday, festive stuff in the background. Has a problem with me, right? Well, anyway, I'm just going to keep going with this, and I don't care. So what if, what's the goal? What's your goal in whatever you're doing? Or do we sometimes just caught up in almost a loop of life? It's another way of looking at it. It's a thing. For me, I have a purpose to do these things. And not every show is, succeeds in the purpose, my defined purpose. But my purpose is to get into a topic and try to explore something or point out some absurdity or some ridiculousness, or like yesterday's show, it was kind of like a DIY show just to give some ideas, but then tie that into some of the absurdities or some of the things, that deal with like infrastructure and, and what they're, what they're trying to do with the Green New Deal and stuff. So it's like it's a little bit of saying, you got to heat this planet. You got to heat the North, but you can't take away the fuel. But by the way, here's some ideas, or you got to, cool the South. Here's some ideas. And then there's all these bugs that when you don't know what, we don't know what to believe, I was watching some video this morning, a clip of some documentary, just in between all the mayhem. Like to say, I've been up since, for 4 hours now. And this was one of the ones from this guy I was talking about. It was like a link to a video. And it's a documentary of a lot of these medical people talking about, the thing and, questioning this, that, the other. And it was on a website, obviously not YouTube, because, this kind of stuff you can't talk about on YouTube or that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about anything as far as, YouTube's concerned. But so yeah, you've got to basically take care of yourself, and yeah, why not put a filter on a fan, clean your air? I did it this morning before I came downstairs up my bedroom, and I think I'll keep that thing up there for now in that room where I sleep, to keep that my sleeping environment as fresh as possible. Down here, it's not that bad. I don't know. It smells fresh down here. I mop the floors, like do the Swiffer type of thing, or the cheaper version of a Swiffer. And, the front door gets open, so fresh air comes in. I open the back door to go feed the birds. I've got plants growing, and the transom opened into that area where the plants are, so maybe there's some oxygen coming from the plants. And then, of course, I've got the kitchen bar area, which is, where I'm, sometime, today I might make a soup or something, I think. But what I'm trying to get at is that, when you do a thing, you have to have a reason for doing it. It's like I have a song, Autopilot, which I highly recommend you listen to. You want to buy it, spend 99 cents, get the track, add it to your mix, get it on your, smartphone or whatever. However people do that. See, I don't even know now. Are more people subscribing to music services than buying individual tracks? I still buy some tracks from time to time, just because I want to have it and I want to be able to put it in different mixes. But I also have music services like, because with Amazon Prime, you have Amazon Prime Music. I don't have the Apple Music service. I had the trial of that at one point. Google had, like, Google Play was interesting. Used to allow you to put your playlists up and make playlists so that they were in, like, the Google Cloud somehow. But I don't know if I haven't really messed around with that. And I had posted some tracks. I had made special mixes for Google that I was just selling really cheap, like for DJs. Like for a quarter or 50 cents. I think I have some of them on here. Let's see. Like a club mix of this. And that was actually from a song that I had called Beyond Infinity. But that was just like called the Club Mix Extra. And I would do stuff like that, but I didn't really do an awful lot of that stuff. So yeah, the show's kind of weird. I just got, like I say, it just threw me for a loop there with it, the technical difficulties. And I don't like that, and that's the one thing about a produced show, even though it just takes up so much of your life to put it together, is at least, it's produced, you see the final product and it's either up and then you could put it in multiple places. It's just that the time it takes to do that is ridiculous. And I guess getting back to this idea of people that, work with these smartphones, my iPhone is outdated. All right. And so I can't even run I was messing with like the Echo Dot app today because I'm trying to it supposedly allows you to call through Wi-Fi someone else's Echo Dot, right? And, but mine keeps saying like, well, it shows like, what do you want to use? AT&T, Skype, or Verizon or something. And I'm like, I don't have any. Well, I could conceivably have Skype. I tried to log on to Skype, and Microsoft account kept telling me like I couldn't log on, and then it gives you those stupid distorted letters and numbers, which you can't read sometimes. That's as bad as like show how many traffic lights or how many bridges are there, and the pictures are so blurry or weird, right? And it says no, and then you have to do it again, and I'm like, I didn't see any frickin' bridge that I missed, right? And it's just like spam. This morning, there must have been 26 spams, and they were somehow politically oriented. Like, what? It's like, who's even running for anything right now? Right? It's like, I mean.
It's the holiday season.
So what is it? So they taking advantage of people like they think, oh, it's a holiday season. People got money. They're going to give money to candidates. I mean, there's nothing going on now. As far as I know, I don't think there's any elections in Hanukkah and Christmas season. They've ruined the internet, is what I'm trying to say. It's like Google search. I didn't point it out today, but look at Bitcoin. The about up top. It says about 1,640,000,000 results. Now, who the hell's going to go through 1.5 billion, more than 1.5 billion results? And like, why do you even list that? And that makes me think, oh, wow, Google search is great. They gave me 1.5 billion results. No, I just want to know the price of Bitcoin. So like my app, my search or whatever was way better because you just click Bitcoin with your finger. You don't even have to type. This is before. That's the other thing about it, over 1.5 billion results. Well, it would take a lifetime to go through there. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, Google ruins search, right? Twitter, totally, is useless and ruined communications because, the political and all these, in other words, they've allowed their platforms to be infiltrated by trolls and all of these like weird special interests and stuff and ideologies that they happen to maybe conform to. And it all becomes one big game playing and it's argument. And yet I see people putting up like such and such tweeted this, when they're on a show like this. You don't see me ever put up somebody's tweet because I don't use Twitter anymore. All I do, I just put a link to the show there on my account. That's it. It's the same with Facebook. Yesterday I was on Facebook. I put up my link and I thought I'd just slide down the feed. And because there's some people, I knew from school or relatives or something like that or whatever. And I went down and looked at some pictures and, if I saw something interesting, I gave it a like or something. That's the first time I've done that in a long time. And I only did it to like, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 things. I didn't even know how that feed came up, to be honest with you, because I haven't used the thing in so long. I just post a video, which nobody, and I don't know. It's weird. And it's even on locals, I followed some people on locals and I don't even, and people won't even reply or like, or, it doesn't cost them anything to just, like something or like, there's ways of, you can free subscribe to a channel and you could pay subscribe to a channel on Locals. You know, so Locals is like kind of a revenue thing for people who are trying to make money on, you know, a living gig economy on their whatever, which I'm not I'm not trying to do that. So I just post my videos and occasionally like, you know, rarely a meme or a statement. And it's the same with like Minds. I post on there. And, you know, Podcast Index, Mastodon, you know, Adam Curry's thing. And, you know, I do get some responses from people there at least. But I don't, you know, I haven't gotten, you know, I don't really have an RSS feed per se. I haven't figured out, you know, like I know Google has some kind of thing set up, but in other words, the technology, what I was doing 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, it was clean, it was easy, there was less spam, there was less trolls. It was just, you know, they kind of ruined it all. It's like the whole internet's like ruined. Yeah. And I don't want to be in a downer, you know, because like I say, it's, you know.
It's the holiday season.
And, you know. But.
Your papers, please.
So we still got that going on. And then, you know, everybody's talking about that. Like, that's not going away. You know, after 2.5 years. And you read like stuff from these doctors from South Africa say one thing. The WHO says another. And of course, the guy, the big F guy, you know, gets caught lying all the time, says something else. So, you know, that's why I say, you know, that's why I don't watch the news. And yeah, you're just sitting in, you know, you're just sitting in my house right now.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
You know, welcome to my world. This is what's going on this morning. I'm just babbling. This is just a babble. This is just a vlog. It's a morning vlog. Welcome to my, you know, my nightmare, you know, or whatever, you know. And, but yeah, I'm just going to ramble for a while and then that's that. You know, it's one of those, you know, this is a flow of consciousness show, but not even in depth, you know, digging too in depth into an issue. I showed you the other day, you know, these things that just come to mind, that just like frustrate. And I don't want, like I said, I'm not going to be on a total downer on this. But, you know, I was talking to another person yesterday about the idea that what I said to you and showed you on a couple of shows ago, that wherever it is, this tiny box, all right, which you could probably fit the same amount of stuff in like a 6x9 envelope, right? Costs $9.20 to send. And do you think Amazon's paying $9.23 when they send you this big oversized box with all this big brown paper in it and all this stuff? You know, I got so many boxes. That's one thing I don't worry about, wood and stuff. And like I say, you know, if the power ever went out, as long as you have a grill, and I got a backyard grill, you know, I just cut up all this cardboard and just use that. You know, you have to feed it more than you would have to feed if you had like wood in there or charcoal, but so what? It burns, makes heat. You keep the lid open and you use like a frying pan or a pot, you know. And if you're cooking something in a pot, put a lid on it so you're not getting any fumes from the glues or the cardboard or anything weird like that. You know what I mean? You're just using the heat. And if it's wintertime, might be colder or warmer, cooking something, getting the heat off your grill, outside, making some soup and putting heating it up than it would be in your house. I always wanted a wood burner in my house, but I just couldn't afford it, Like I wish I had a fireplace. That would have been the ideal. This would be a dream house with a fireplace. But I have gas heat that pumps water to radiators. So the power goes out, it doesn't matter if the gas is on. It's like I have a gas stove with an electric starter. But as I've learned and I've done before, the starter won't work if the power goes out, but the gas line's still flowing with gas. So you just have to use a lighter to light the, a match or a lighter to light the, the burner. And I was able to do that the last time there was like a power outage. And in the year 2021, man, there should not be power outages at all. I mean, at all. So it's really weird, It's like this, and I have a song, Breakaway Civilization. I got a song about everything. And I've written about this in my book, and I'm sure I have an essay about breakaway civilization in one of my books. I don't know which one. Because I've got 10 books. So it's you lose track. But, in the breakaway civilization, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, who are 100 billionaires, worth hundreds, in the 100+ billions. That world is just so totally different from people making, have a job or living at the poverty level. It's like there's no, but it's the people who are the wage slaves, the hard workers, or the retirees who worked, their entire life, but are on a minimum, retirement income that they're trying to spread out, till they die, a painful death alone. That, that they just keep milking. And, what kind, a civilization, no data, this stream will, but I mean, what kind of, I don't know what's going on with this show. What kind of civilization is it that, that treats its people like that, that treats the people that actually make society. I'm freezing up. This is probably the worst I've seen ever of any of my shows. The worst I've seen ever. It's as if somebody's robbing my bandwidth. And then I just lose thought. But it says something about a society. So if you think, I watch these guys on YouTube, I can see my kilobytes per second going down. I could see that I'm frozen on the screen. I see these people talking and criticizing all of the same stuff that I'm talking about in a sense and in different ways. But, they're doing it so they make a living. It's like I call them the YouTube millionaires or the gig economy type of people, they make a living from it, but they make a very good living. They're buying property. They've got, all this kind of stuff. They don't have houses with leaky roofs, shingles falling off, right? Can't afford to send a Christmas present, the mailing, of a box. It says no data right now on my stream. So, but yet it's the people who do the work and make things, that make things happen. I don't know what's going on. On my feed, it says no data. But now it says excellent connection. But, take this show and what I'm saying as an example of what, that's the theme, that the internet is broken. You don't have freedom of speech. You got to walk on eggshells. The new things that come out, they're no different than the old things, right? And if you want to be a webcaster, you want to have a blog, you got to spend your whole day on it, and there's no way of monetizing it. See, it's the idea of entering a game too late, so to speak. It's like the American dream, right? There's some people who are lucky enough, randomly. It's like, but generally speaking, it's like the power brokers were the ones who, it's like first in. It's like musical chairs, or something. I mean, these are the first people in, they got everything, and now everybody else has to it's plays musical chairs and hope they're not, when the music stops, they're not the one left, standing. They create these ridiculous things that are just poison, right? These drinks. And, and it's just all messed up. And so assuming that this video isn't, if anyone made it this far, because I've seen it freeze up at least a half dozen times. The takeaway is this. It's the takeaway that why I do this show is to tell you that if you want a quality of life, if you want life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness and a quality of life, you have to do it yourself. You have to somehow yourself make it happen. And you can make it happen, and I'm starting to get really fed up with this. Just like I say, it takes the wind out of your sails. Just when I wasted all of this time, creating all of this stuff, and I was, and it was getting me into a mood, and, the funny thing with the toilet seats and stuff, I took that picture this morning, went out in the cold. But that I got this program working to do this. I took that picture at 2 a.m. But I mean, all this other stuff that's going on here, yeah, I could switch to another format, another platform. But I'll be starting from scratch again. And I won't be able to do all this stuff unless I produce the show. And then I'm spending my entire life. And that's what I'm saying about what I was saying before when they started messing me up. It's this idea of these shorts and this thing this friend of mine was showing me. It's like, what, then what? So what? 3 people, 6 people, 33 people, 100 people watch something. So what? What does that mean in a country of 330 million people in a world close to 8 billion people? And then these other people, they're getting 100 million views, 30 million views, right? Or at least in the hundreds of thousands, of views. in a certain niche area of some kind. So there's a purpose behind it. It's not even the money. If you're not, like I say, I don't care. I'm not monetized. I don't want to make more money. I'd like to have a little bit extra, but I want to remain at the poverty level because basically at that point, I'm comfortable and I can live free because I don't want to file income taxes. You see? If you're below the poverty level, and I have that here somewhere. IRS, you can read it yourself. Do I need to file a tax return? Okay. You are not required to file a tax return because your income does not equal or exceed $12,400, nor do you owe any special taxes or have any special situations that require you to file. And you might say, "Oh my God, you only you make less than $12,400?" Yeah, I do. A good 1,000 less than that. So all I ever wanted to do was, get a little bit of some extra money in, to help out. But I don't care. I'm almost glad nobody bought anything, I guess. Somebody bought an Apple, one of my books. I got I think through Apple, which I'm sorry they did. And I warned people all the time that my book, if they bought like Then What or something, they just don't look right on there. I created that book on an Apple computer, this one I'm looking at you through, all right? Through a program called Pages, right, that comes with Apple. And that exports, and it was under, like, what do you want to do, right? What do you want to create, right? It gives you options. And it's like, make a book, book. So I click on the book thing. And then when I'm done the book, I worked on my book for how many ever, weeks that I, wrote it. And then I was finished with the book, and it's export to Apple Books, right? Literally, it's an option under the file menu. Okay, so I exported to Apple Books, did it in an Apple program on an Apple frickin' computer. I have an account with Apple Books because I have 10 frickin' books, all right? And, who knows how many songs I have on Apple Music. And when I looked at the book, it was all out of whack. I'm serious about that. So some poor bastard bought the book. Of course, they only sell for like $2.95 or something on there. I don't know. But I mean, like the headline was on one page and his words were on another page. There was an image that was supposed to be like, in something, and that wasn't there. I'll give you an example. I think this is my copy. Is this my copy? No, not necessarily. But anyway, I have things like this. Or pages, let's see. Let's just look here. And you never find what you want to find when something's live. Like this would appear at the bottom of the page. Well, in the Apple Book thing, it doesn't. It doesn't hold the format. This would be a prime example. You see how I have the images and the text wrapping around them? Oh man, that doesn't look like that. And then I have these things in here, which the reason why I told people, I try to explain to people, buy the print book. It's only $9.95. Okay? But I have like forms and stuff. Well, they don't show up right, and you can't use those on on some kind of Apple thing. I have a thing here to help people with budgeting and getting, there's things in here that it's really annoying. Where I want to show you this other thing, wherever the hell it is. Here. Like a monthly budget. And I talk about ideas, and this is to be helpful. It's like the same reason I do this show. It's for a purpose. It's to help you. It's to give you some advice. The lessons of my illustrious life, happenstance. I did all these things. And, I'm sharing, something. It's like the fan thing, it's like, whatever, all this stuff, this jackery and, in this book Codex, my other previous book. And so, people don't seem to give a shit is what it amounts to. Like they're self-important, and these people that make, and then, so what's Google's problem? Like, it's not like I'm unpopular. Do you see what I mean? I know thousands of people. When I was doing the Twitter thing, I was thousands and thousands of followers, right? Like I say, they purged people from Twitter last year like crazy. They didn't purge me, but, a lot of people who are following me, I guess, got kicked off for some reason. I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit better at, crafting a, something and talking to stay within the, the parameters of the terms of service. I don't know, but I thought I was pretty radical. But it's just a weird game. And so I'm not going to, so I put all this time into pretty much mastering this open source program and how to do everything, right? I could show you websites and different things like that. And there's other things I could do. Like I could, for example, I could even set it up like almost like the green screen and chroma key and all that kind of television-y type of stuff. I could do all kinds of crazy stuff. But not if they're going to freeze me up and mess with me. And whether it's YouTube, Studio, Google, or my service provider, or whatever, or these idiots, like maybe there was somebody outside trying to somehow hack into my, ISP's thing. And, here's the other thing, it pisses me off. Like people say, well, change your Wi-Fi password. It's not I've sometimes it says it was like, I get it. Like it was weak, it's not secure as it should be. Well, the freaking password number's like this long, upper, lower case numbers and all that kind of weird shit. It's like, well, how more complicated it is. And then I have like a TV. I have these Echo Dots. I've got like smart home devices, different computers, an old smartphone that's on Wi-Fi, all these devices that I have tied into that. What, I'm going to change my Wi-Fi and type in some ridiculously, long number all the time? I have one or two friends who visit who have laptops they bring with them, and they've got my Wi-Fi password. so they could just come in and, and get, used, and can say, hey, guess what? Here's the new password. You're going to have to type this in. If you want to use your phone, Wi-Fi on your phone or your laptop today while you're visiting. And it's all because of assholes and crooks and thieves. It's like these, like this country has become a country of thugs, if you think about it. And that's why I say, and this is where if this show doesn't freeze up again. This is the show today. The takeaway from this show. All right? The reason why Donald Trump is just wasting everybody's fucking time. All right? Go golf. All right? Go golf. Go do something else. Go help some people out or something. Or do something. Or just, whatever. Stop, stirring the pot. All right? They're not going to save America. You had 4 years and it didn't work. And if for some reason you or your party or whatever you created got back in, they would double, triple, quadruple down on you or whomever is associated with that. Don't you understand? This country's been taken over by the World Economic Forum. The Great Reset is already in progress. This Build Back Better bullshit. It's a corporatocracy. And you know who they are? They're a bunch of thugs. And you know who the World Economic Forum and the Davos set are? It's an organized crime syndicate. And why don't people see that? Right? Why are you so afraid to accept that? It's an organized crime syndicate. And so when you turn on your news or YouTube or whatever it is, okay? This hat looks, where's my... Everything's frickin' backwards, too. Okay, let's pull this over to the other side so it looks like a Christmas hat. It looked like I was wearing a Russian hat for a while. Maybe that's why I don't get people watching. But the point of the matter is, when you see these masked people using social media and all this other stuff, and they're, crashing into these stores, stealing. Now, I understand that in New York now, it's just like it is in San Francisco or LA or parts there, where that you can go into New York stores now and steal $800 worth of stuff, and they're not going to prosecute you or go after you. So New York, LA, what maybe is, who knows, Philly, are these how many other places, Chicago. So in other words, the cops, you can't open a business today. If I opened a really cool store somewhere, and I was going to do that, this other building, it's a good thing this guy fucked up my whole life. I had all my stuff stored in a basement, and he just trashed the place and never paid the rent, and building's been sold now and all that shit. But the place was destroyed, and he didn't tell anybody that he wasn't paying the electric or had the water, and the heat was off, and everything just got ruined and messed up. And cats crapping all over the place and stuff. But, I'm glad he did it because, one of the ideas I had in my mind was I was going to because I had no loyalty to this particular property necessarily. I was just going to sell it, and I was just going to go back to that other building because in the basement I had this condo type place I built and a bar that was already there. And upstairs I had this really funky office space and this counter in this front room that I could have turned into a cool store. And I had some neat ideas about that. And I was just going to do that, make a living and, have some fun. And that would have been social interaction with people and stuff. And it's a decent part of town. And, there's a park near walking distance and, neighborhood bar type of thing. It was kind of, knew the guy who owned it and stuff. But yeah, that's not happening. Yeah, that's gone. And if I would have done that, these guys would have just smashed and grabbed. Thugs. Because I don't think it even matters anymore, LA, New York, or whatever, whether it's like the cops look the other way or not. It's like people say, a lot of the good cops just quit because, and so you got the ones in there now are kind of go with the party line. They don't care. Right? It's lawlessness. It's like America is like the way, foreigners used to talk about this place, and they were wrong when they used to say it, like, 20, 30 years ago or so. Like, because I traveled around, and they used to think America, John Wayne, Wild Wild West, right? Disney World, right? That's the way it was. That was America. America's not Disney World, it's not John Wayne, and it's not Wild Wild West anymore. America is a country of gangs, thugs, organized crime syndicate running things like big pharma who are making hundreds of billions of dollars on, off of people's misery, suffering, and death. Big tech that's like, their crap doesn't work. The apps, I was trying to run this app and it was just going white. The screen was going white. I deleted the app, reloaded it. Latest version, same frickin' thing. They won't allow you, they keep changing the operating system every year or so. And then your computer, even though it still works fine, they won't, you can't run that operating system on it. Why? Because they want to sell you a new multi-$1,000 computer. I mean, there's no other example. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? In other words, when I go,
that's a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, and everybody have a safe and wonderful New Year.
This computer is 15 fucking years old over here. All right? It has Photoshop that I purchased and bought, and it works, and I could make some funky designs because I'm a graphic designer. It's one of my other little, Renaissance man things. And I could design that, or I could, in InDesign, publish a fucking magazine tomorrow and put it out. And I have all these samples that I've done right here. Like I could put out, a little thing like this in color, print it here. I have a color printer that will print on this paper. Right? I could design stuff like this. Look at that cool shit. Right? I made these TV guides. I didn't get that from somewhere. I actually did that typography. It looks like a TV guide. You see that? Let me put it in there. See that? It actually looks like a TV guide. Well, guess what? I made that from scratch. It's the kind of shit I do. All the NFL, like sports. Yeah. I could do that on a frickin' computer that's 15, 16 years old. Maybe longer. I don't know. This computer is already, I don't know. Let me check. This will probably stop the stream. Every time you do a pull something up. This is late 2012. So this computer here, we're coming on 2022. This is 10 years old. So this computer is way more than 15 years old. This computer is probably almost, probably 18 years old or something like that. Maybe older. Maybe 20. But they still work. Right? But they won't run the new operating system. So you can't run certain apps on it because they require you can't download that app. You need the iOS 13 or whatever, whatever they're talking about. Different things. And yeah, I could go do a live show on Locals, but they don't have this interface like this. So what good is it? And I'm going to I could put this in studio mode and record this show. I don't have to do it live. And I would have all this crazy funky shit going on. Right? So I could do this live on tape, But then I'd have to go through that same thing as processing and then uploading it. So it's like, and they choke you, and then you're limited, I don't know if they'd let you do 2 hours. Maybe I'd have to cut the show down to a half hour or an hour. I don't know. It's just not right. I don't like the constraints. It's like they've ruined the frickin' internet. And they've ruined computers. And it's this breakaway civilization. So all these people out there going, what the fuck's this guy talking about, man? Look at me. Yeah, look at you. You're fucking 24 years old, and mommy and daddy gave you this fucking brand new computer, so you don't know what it's fucking like. The cat hears me yelling. He's wondering what's going on. It's all right, kitty. Here. Come on. I'm going to put you on the air because people heard you. Yeah. Well, you got to get your head up because you're too low because the way this monitor is. Come here. Just at least, I don't know. Somehow you turned on some kind of icons. I don't even know where they came from. Get your feet off the keyboard. Come here. Jeez. All right. Now, let's look at people. Say hi. That was a hi? All right. Now you can go on your merry way. And your claws are sticking out in your back feet. You need to chop those off. Have a seat, hang out. Don't knock anything over, please. So, and so, yeah, these people go, yeah, it's great. I got a new Apple computer, a new, PC, a new Android phone, a new iPhone. Yeah, if you're just entering this world, right? Yeah, it's super fucking fantastic. But wait till 18 months from now when the iPhone 14 comes out and they want you to switch to that, right? And then you have the iPhone 14 and then you find out, like I'm trying to tell people, that the day of the smartphone is about 18 months from being extinct. Because the next thing is it's all going to voice, wearables, and that kind of stuff. And so then you're going to go I can't use this. And then what about people who still want to use a desktop computer because it's a thing? So you have to buy a $10,000, an Apple Pro type of computer. And you could spend $20,000, if you want to be. But what if you're just a graphic designer that isn't working for a Fortune 500 company? So you can't afford to spend $10,000 or $20,000 on hardware, software, and all the accoutrement, right? To do it. But you can't do it because you can't do high-end graphics using a 20-year-old computer. You see? Because you won't have the latest software. Right? And you won't even be able to update it or upload stuff. Like this computer, the FTP program doesn't work on anymore. I was lucky enough that on this computer, I have an FTP program. And I happen to get the president of the company, because it's a smaller company, to give me access so I can run it on this machine, because I was one of the original, like the first guy to buy the program, because I've been on the internet since the beginning. He probably knew who I was. It's like I've been on the phone with customer service, many times, and they'd go, "Oh wow, you've been a customer for a long time." Yeah, that's right. Like, yeah, I've got videos that have gotten thousands and thousands of views, and they were from like 2006, right? Or something like that. It's like, yeah, I've been doing this for a very, very long time. And like I've got shows that I've got recordings of that I've been doing for 20 frickin' years, over 20 years, 25. But the point is, that's the past. And people don't know. And like I said, yeah, so I think somebody bought my book on Apple Books. But like I say, I uploaded it and it was uploaded. It wasn't like I was going to take it down. But then when I looked at it through Apple Books, the app, I go, that's not my book, man. It's all messed up. But I did it on an Apple computer using an Apple program and a thing that said upload to Apple Books in an account that I have, because I have multiple books on it, and it's there. And it shows up in the Apple bookstore. But if you get it, it's out of whack when you try to read it. Headlines on one page, text on another. There's an image here, then it's something here. Forget about the forms. That like half of the form appears on one page, half on the other. It's useless. I mean, you could read your way through it, but it's just not what it was designed as. It was designed as a book, to be paged through, whether it's paged through print or digital. And so they don't even have their act together on that. So why would you release a software and have it actually a file menu that says export to Apple Books? Right? On an Apple computer and an Apple software that was set up as, that you were creating a book. In other words, I did everything by the book to make that book. It's nuts. And the same with Amazon. So on Amazon, you could buy a print version of my book, and it's accurate. I mean, there's some typos in it, but who gives a shit about that? I'm done with that. You know what I mean? It's like I have these things on this one site that I swear, it's like with Twitter, this autocorrect crap. That sometimes the autocorrect comes in like after the fact. Like when you click upload. And I know other people that's happened to who've talked about it, And it's hard to experiment with it, and or screen capture because people wouldn't believe, it just, there's no way of really getting that across to somebody. In other words, I mean, I've tried that and done it where I've made, where I've tried to screen capture, like when I used to be on Twitter and stuff, because Twitter, it used to happen a lot on Twitter. One of the ways they would fuck with you, through their algorithm, people that were like not following their ideology, right? In other words, they're very sophisticated, big tech. I mean, man, these algorithms are sophisticated. And so it's not enough for a guy like me who basically is able to work within the parameters of the terms of service. And like I say, there's some big deal. There's something happening in January. They've got another way where they want to get rid of people. I think there's going to be another purge on YouTube. Like they're going to twist things. In fact, for a friend of mine who takes clips from other people, you need to read the terms of service that are coming out in January 22. That's going to be illegal. That's going to be grounds for being kicked off of YouTube. You're not going to be allowed to use anything from anyone else. And there's no system in place even to have permission. Yeah, so you won't be able to use a clip from another person starting January 22. And they'll be purging all the people. And any video that you have up that's based on someone else's content, they're going to take down. Read the terms of service, but like I say, when you go to it, you have to look at the left-hand side and click on the January 22 one, the one that they're changing. They've been sending emails out to everybody about it, right? I've gotten multiple ones because I have multiple accounts, though they're linked together. But I've screen captured a tweet like before I hit, post, tweet, whatever the frick the thing is, and then tweeted it and then screen captured it and then showed that the posted one had put an "and" instead of the letter A, right, in front of some "an" item, and instead it would be "a" item. Make you look like you're a moron, right? But people look at that and they go like, duh, how do we know you didn't just make that up, right? It's the same with like the freezing that went on in this show earlier. People say, well, it's probably something with your ISP or your connection or something you're doing. And it's like, I've been on the internet. I told you this story. I was on the internet and in 1985, all right? I was on the internet in 1985, all right? I basically was taking apart computers, building them, rebuilding people's computers, both Macs and PCs, all right? I know I know more about the internet and all this stuff than you could possibly imagine. There are things I did, innovations I made in the 90s and before that basically, and when I was in the HTML guild and stuff like that, things that were adapted and became commonplace that had never been done before, that I just figured out the code on my own and offered it up like open source to people. And it ended up being part of, people made millions, if not billions from it. Like I said, I used to have a setup like a Twitter and a Facebook thing in the 90s that was, using open source code and other stuff that basically was the exact same thing. And when people started, when Facebook and Twitter were coming out and people were raving about it and stuff, I'm going like, man, I was doing that 5 years ago. I don't even know what, it's just a frickin' web page. And people would say that, and then they have thousands and thousands of employees. And I'm going, what the hell are these people doing? Right? Because all you need is a server farm, bandwidth, and storage, to have that type of setup, because it's the exact same page, just changed, right, through like, server side, includes and different things. In other words, it's a web. Facebook is a web page, Twitter is a web page, and the only thing different is that you need storage because people are customizing that web page, and then there's you're having it set up so that there's can be discussion, but it's not complicated code. I mean, to some people it might seem. and running these algorithms that are like gathering data and doing all this other stuff. But that's how they fuck with people. Because if you abide by their rules, their terms of service, their algorithms have other ways of trying to just get at you. And that is mess with your upload, mess with your the spell checker after the fact, the autocorrect. And people say, well, just you could turn all that stuff off. Just you need to go into your settings and do this. It's like, man, I know all about settings. You don't understand big tech. You don't understand the organized crime syndicate and this collection of former countries that are now corporatocracies. And people want to believe, and then you want to get, and then all this frickin' email fundraising money by political people that just want to become millionaires and billionaires. Nancy fucking Pelosi. She just wants to make more money, right? And I don't care. And the same goes for Rand Paul. He made more money than Nancy Pelosi's husband. He made $8 million on a insider trading, and Pelosi's only made $5 million. It's both sides. They're all signing on to all these deals about this. Bowing down to big pharma because they're the media bows down to them because they're a major advertiser. I mean, people don't understand. That world is just totally fucked up, and it sucks. And I'm on a downer today because they ruined it. Now, do I care? Yeah, I do care in a way because I was having fun doing this stuff. And if you go back and look at my, hundreds and hundreds of shows, you'll see some where I'm like, me and the guys are like,
really funny. Really
right? Yeah, we had a lot of laughs, and for a while.
The only station that matters.
That's what this was. But the thing is, they're fucking with it. And they fucked it up. And it's fucked up. And so they're not allowing, by having the thing like I pointed out on Bitcoin, by having 1,640,000 results, over 1.5 billion results, okay? And they decide to put like me somewhere back in the, a million pages back. Nobody's going to ever discover me. See, those days are over. Right? If they want to post-date my video to say it was yesterday, well, it's not going to appear in live now. So somebody looking for some live vlog or morning show, they're not going to see it in the live section. Nobody checked in today. I've been on like for 2 hours, right? Like I say all the time, I've studied this stuff, law of probability and statistics. There are hundreds of millions of people, right, who are awake and on YouTube right now, right, looking at stuff, looking for something to watch. You're telling me not one random person, not one person out of hundreds of millions, if not a billion, but out of hundreds of millions of people, right? Didn't see this weird, title card and go like, hey, I wonder what that is. Right? Out of curiosity. Because that's how people are. People poke around all the time. I never get anybody. And the only people who ever come here, right, are people that I actually either went to their site and then they were able to get the URL and seek me out directly. See, it's not like I'm invisible. I'm just a million pages back, in search on these things. And some people I've already had people say, well, that's not true, man, because I put your name up and you came right in the top. Yeah, because you've been to my site, you've been to me, to me, you've watched something of mine. That basically that's how the algorithms work, because that's what big data is all about. Serving you up, right? Knowing what you like or what your interests are. So I'll come up first in somebody who knows me and who has watched my shows or a show, or who has communicated with me or used my name or maybe even chatted with me. You see? Because that's how this, that's how it works. That's how algorithms work. That's how data collection is, big data. But to the random person, not a single person even click to see, because I'm invisible. Invisible. So, yeah, they'll fuck with your bandwidth. They'll make you invisible. They'll do all this shit. They'll demonetize you. The whole 9 yards. And it just gets to the point where you go, whatever. I mean, I've written these books. I've created these funky clothes. It's like a clothing line I have. It's neat stuff. It's the stuff that, these guys like Tim Pool, and there's one guy on there that always seems to have a different shirt on, who would probably be wearing some of this stuff. They don't know about it because they don't know I frickin' exist. You try to go on to the chat there, thing and say something. They think you're trying to sell them something. They'll block you instead of so there's no way of even communicating. Hey, check out my show. They think, oh, this is somebody trying to scam us, or somebody trying to use us to drive traffic to their site. So they'll block you. I've done that with shows that I watch, that I subscribe to. Sometimes I'll say something. I'm saying, hey, that's a cool show, cool idea. I talked about that over, the other day on my show. Check it out. And instead of them checking it out, they'll just block me, thinking I'm trying to use their, whatever, comments as something to drive traffic to me, when I'm not. When I'm just trying to talk to them. One time I did a show dedicated to some guy who was trying to get people involved in something, and I was talking up his show, and it was kind of a tribute to him. And I commented on him. I commented on his site about it, and he blocked me or something. And I'm going and I know the guy's probably half my age or something. I'm like, man, what's your problem? It's, you don't get it. It's the sense of community. That's why I say the whole thing's broken. It's the people who are there are the people who are there. Did you ever notice that on Tim Pool and Joe Rogan, it's the same guest and the same gang, right? Right? And sometimes they've had them all together. They've had Jones, Rogan, some other people, some chick with, big gazungas, they're all on. It's the same group. It's like a clique. It's like a high school clique. That's what the internet is, And they pretend it's well, and it's it's not like I dislike these people in any way. But what I'm trying to say is that it's closed, right? They don't give a shit. It's closed. They're all making all this money, living in this world, If they get sick, they get the kitchen sink vaccine and all that stuff. The rest of us, we die, or and we get no views. No views. I get no views basically, because I've kind of figured it out. I think, it's like some dude I know goes on, and then sometimes a random person will, who somehow is, I've made contact with. And then I think the other one is me on my TV, because it's one of my other accounts. And I think, or when I'm updating or uploading the links where I share, I have to go through this series of like open the video and hit share, and the video's playing while I'm doing the share. And I think that counts as like a view somehow. Because I've seen different times on the URL where it has owner appears and then it's not counted. But when I do that share thing, I look up and I've seen the URL, because I copy and paste the URL, and it's just the URL. So I think that sometimes when you see 3 views on my shows, that means that's the same as 0 views. So I've noticed some of my shows got 6 views. So in those instances, I probably got 3 views. Yeah. A 2-hour show, live, all kinds of information, interesting character, 50 songs, 10 books, 500 some videos, been on the internet since the very beginning, known thousands and thousands of people in major markets, did all kinds of things, was instrumental in creating things that have literally, had an effect on society and pop culture. And I get 0 views. Screw that, man.
That's a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, and everybody have a safe and wonderful New Year.